Hello, how's it going? In today's video, I'm covering Seas of Fire and Battle of Hillsbrad Foothills from Chronicle Volume 2. So let's go! Doomhammer hadn't expected to keep his fleet of ships secret forever, so when the Alliance found out, he wasn't even slightly bothered. Construction had finished and now it was time to board. He was pretty sure they'd reach southern Lordaeron before the humans could prepare themselves anyway. Plus he had a few tricks up his sleeve. Hundreds of Orcish ships full of soldiers and supplies began their journey north. However, as they neared the island of Zoldair, Dalen Proudmoore and his Alliance navy appeared and were like, "It's time for a sea battle, you twats." The Admiral hailed from Kul Tiras. He'd spent his entire life on the high seas, and so, as far as he was concerned, this was going to be very one-sided and very easy. And his vessels outmaneuvered the Horde fleet even quicker than he'd anticipated. The first cannon volley blew Orcish ships to pieces. Things were going so well, Dalen started thinking he could probably end the Second War before it even started. Look at how crap they are at boat stuff. We can destroy them all, here and now. But then, bloody dragons arrived. Doomhammer had known full well that the humans would be better at boat stuff. There's entire human kingdoms full of seamen. That's why he ordered Necros and the Dragonmaw clan to provide air support. At first, Necros had been all like, "Nah mate, we're not even ready." But the war chief had pressured him, so he relented. He dispatched 3 whole red dragons to guard the fleet, and the red dragons reluctantly did that, through fear of what would happen to Alexstrasza if they disobeyed. When the poop had hit the fan, they dove from the sky and bathed the Alliance fleet in fire. Proudmoore had absolutely no way to defend against dragonfire, so he called a full retreat, and the ships cheesed it. Now that they were taken care of, the Horde fleet continued its journey to Hillsbrad Foothills. They made landfall uncontested. The Horde army stormed ashore, but the red dragons refused to follow them. Necros had stayed behind at Grim Batol, and he'd only ordered them to guard the ships, so they weren't going to do anything else. "We're not killing any more humans, you jerks." It was a small act of defiance, but it was all they could do without endangering the Lifebinder. And Orgrim didn't press the issue. Sodom! They began the march inland with a plan to cross the Ultarak Mountains to reach Capital City. It would be difficult, but it was the quickest way. Meanwhile, Lothar had anticipated this plan. From a military perspective, Lordaeron's capital was a target that was too good to resist. If it fell, the rest of the Alliance would fall into chaos. Not on his watch! He placed troops across the northern and western routes to the capital, and he tried to rally the army with an inspiring speech. But it wasn't brilliant. They can take our lives, but something... freedom and... yeah! Surprisingly, you could still see the fear in the soldiers' eyes. For most of them, this was the first time they'd even see these bloody hulking menaces. But, on a positive note, the Paladins had finished their training. As they rode through the Alliance lines, they managed to inspire their fellow soldiers and fill them with hope and courage. And I'm sure Lothar was like, "Yeah, but my speech probably helped too." The Horde's war drums sounded and the green-skinned warriors charged. They smashed into the human lines, and for the first time in history, the full might of the Horde and the Alliance armies clashed. Illyria and her High Elf Rangers thinned the Horde ranks with bow and arrow. Lothar fought on the front lines beside the Paladins. Elsewhere, Khadgar and other Magi unleashed arcane power on the knobs. Amid the fighting, a corrosive fog crept over the battlefield, and it smelled like farts. Suddenly, slain human soldiers started rising from the dead and attacking their former comrades. At the head of this unholy army were a handful of hooded figures riding skeleton horses. The Death Knights had arrived. As the humans kinda stood there, stunned and wondering what the bloody hell that was all about, the Death Knights charged, inflicting pain and terror on their enemies. And Orgrim didn't know whether to be happy or sad about this. On the one hand, they were clearly winning. These Death Knights were pretty good in combat, and they managed to cause a lot of the Alliance soldiers to run around like headless chickens. But on the other hand, Death Knights are gross, man. The humans were bloody horrified, and their lines began to crumble. However, there was a sudden blinding white light that appeared from Uther, Turalyon, and the other Paladins. The holy energy spread out across the battlefield, striking down the reanimated corpses and sweeping away the fart fog. The Paladins also used their holy powers to mend wounded soldiers and calm them down a bit. This renewed confidence allowed the Alliance to regroup. Doomhammer was now a little bit concerned. The armies on both sides were pretty evenly matched, but this wasn't going to last forever. The longer they fought in Hillsbrad, the more chance the humans had to bring in reinforcements. Their only choice was to change their plan and go east, try and find another route to the capital. So he called on the Amani trolls. They knew the area well and would be good travel guides, and they agreed to help, but only after the Orcs made good on their promise to liberate their leader, Zul'jin. And we're leaving it there! In the next Volume 2 video, the Orcs are going to head to Durnhold Keep to rescue Zul'jin, and then find themselves fighting against wild hammer dwarves. As always, thanks very much to those of you who support the channel as patrons. Links in the description if anyone's interested in supporting the channel in that way. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!